Yeah, okay, I'm on that page now. I'm just gonna refresh that page and see. Is that it should be. Okay, good. It's just gonna take a minute. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, now it just looks like there's a huge lag. All right, there's a huge lag. Let me see how I can. I'm here, but there's a crazy lag, so I hope this is gonna work. Okay, so I'm gonna get off the phone with you and see how there's like the quality is fine. There's a really long lag here. So, right. Okay, let's look. Speed, quality, auto, HD. Okay, maybe if I put it down to like, let's put in a 480 and see what happens. These scopes. Oh, there's, here, I'm on it. There's like a crazy, I'm trying to figure this out. I can't talk right now. Yeah, that's because they didn't tell me that there's like software that needs to be downloaded and all this stuff. So, right, but it's streaming right now, but there's a huge lag, so I'm just trying to figure this out. Yeah. Okay, okay, bye. Hey, you still there, Callie? Hello, okay. Super lag. I'm gonna get off with you and like Darren's calling and freaking out and stuff. So I'm gonna get off and try and see if I can sort this lag situation out. Okay, thank you so much. I'll talk to you in a bit. Okay, thanks, Darren. Bye. Okay, Raddies, I don't know if you're gonna get this. I'm getting freak out calls from Darren and Scorps and everybody else. So I know there's a huge lag and I'm trying to sort this out. So what I'm seeing on my screen is driving me crazy because it is like 40 seconds behind. Don't ever expect this stuff to just work. It's not even supposed to. It is built to drive you crazy. So let's see what we get. Let's do speed, normal. I'm trying to change qualities around to see if this is any better. I'm gonna refresh the situation. Be right back. It seems like we're stuck. Oh gosh, okay. So look, we're gonna have to do a test. So I'm looking at your chat. I do see the chat box. So here's what's going on. Raddies and all, I am, yes, I am so confused and you're very kind. So I'm getting a crazy lag. So when I watch myself on the video, it's a minute later. So it's best if I don't watch myself, which is good anyway. So what I'm going to do is see if I can at least see if you're hearing me. So I'm going to ask you a question. I see Brazil loves you. I love Brazil. So I got that. I'm gonna say, can you hear me speaking? Are you getting audio? Tell me. See, someone say it's working now. Okay, somebody tell me if we're getting, okay, somebody said I hear you. That's what I needed. All right, thank you so much. So my job is to not look at this camera right now because it is crazy. Hey, can somebody tell me, now that I know you can hear me, thank you, how's the quality? Is it ridiculously bad? Is it okay? I'm gonna wait for somebody to tell me that. Oh, UK, I love you. Somebody's saying no lag. I love your hair. Oh, if you can see my hair, then everything's good. That's all we need. All right, darlings. I'm just gonna not look at this video and I'm going to look at your beautiful comments. Thank you for being so sweet. About 20 seconds of delay. Quality is okay? Good, we can do this. So, whether we're in the asylum or in hell, clearly technology does not reach us down here, so bear with me. I'm just so glad the quality is okay. Thank you so much. So I understand there's about a 20-second delay or so. So just understand that I might be responding to a different question than what you're seeing on the screen. I am notoriously long-winded. So my goal, personal challenge for today, is to answer as many of your questions as humanly possible. So to do that, I'm going to move this video thing aside because it is just too distracting. And I'm going to simply look at your chatty chat. Who has a cup of tea with me? Somebody says video is bad, audio is great. Is video bad for everybody? So what I can do is I can up the quality, but I don't know if that might make it slower. You're all very sweet. Thanks for being so nice. Jen Stagger, don't leave. That's right, it'll be taped. I'm sure you can watch it again later. And I love you, and I'm sorry you have to go. I'm sorry we started 27 minutes late. Technology is not our friend down here. So we're trying to work. There's so much changing every day. I just learned about Periscope like 4 days ago. It's overwhelming. I can't even handle. I wish I could just see you all in person, which is why I hope as many of you as can will come to one of the roadshow carnival Alleluia showings, because it's just so much easier than this. But I'm so glad that you're here anyway. Audio and video is good? Awesome. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Firstly, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for being with me today and giving me the time to talk to you. I'm honored as always. And I am here to just answer any crazy questions. It's always dangerous, but I'm being very brave, so ask away. And I'm just gonna look and see what everybody's saying. Does anybody have anything that they want to know? Please understand, I'm gonna do my best to get to everything that I can. And it might be a crazy delay. So Any questions? Okay, here's a question. Reagan says, are you coming to Denver? I would love to. I haven't been asked to yet, so that's a question for Darren. So far, I'm going to the Arizona show, so New Mexico, Arizona, Chicago, I just found out, and New York, which I'm so excited about. So, so any other ones that you absolutely need me at, just let Darren know, and that's going to be his job. So thank you so much. Somebody said no spoilers, please. Not a problem. I sat on this story for a year, and you can imagine, anyone who's seen the film can imagine how incredibly difficult that would have been, because there's so much that I'm sure was a great surprise. So if I could sit on that for a year, I won't give spoilers today. I'm going to look at your questions. When do you come to Rio de Janeiro? As soon as possible. Touring in and performing and meeting playwrights in South America has been one of the absolute highlights of my life, as well as Captain Maggots and the Weavers. All of that. We absolutely can't wait to get back to you. Question. Kansas City. I would love to come to Kansas City. Ask Darren. You know Tech9's going to Kansas City. So I'm very excited for you to see. I'm looking at Enchant re-release. We would love to. Things are in the works. I just had a meeting about it yesterday. What was it like working with Adam Pascal? Adam Pascal was a true absolute gentleman. He's a lot of fun. And I think I've been very, very lucky with the men of Devil's Carnival that I've been cast with. So thank you to Darren and Terrance and everybody for giving me good partners to work with. It's not bad to have to star opposite a 2-time Tony nominee Broadway star. Definitely not mad at that. And now we are hoping to debut the Asylum musical, hopefully this February, with Adam Pascal in the lead as Dr. Stockholm. So, heading to New York from, oh good, I can't, do I speak any languages other than English? In Alleluia Carnival, I do, but in real life, I am sadly not fluent in other languages other than the ones inside my head. Are you asexual? That's actually the best question ever, because I've been wondering that my entire life. I actually consulted psychics on the subject in New Orleans one time on tour, because I was convinced that I was, but I thought, really, is this all there is to this? And fortunately, at the moment, according to Scorpion, I'm not asexual, so that's good. Turns out that was wrong all along. Is Alleluia coming to the UK? Absolutely. So the deal with getting to the UK and other countries as well is primarily the more that all of you can spread the word and promote this and ask people for it and really get people to, I'll tell you, I personally hate asking people to buy things. It feels weird. That, on the other hand, this movie cost a lot of money to make. It costs a lot of money for them to go on tour for this. It costs a lot of money for them to rent the theaters. So the only way that they can really get to other countries is if we do really well and do things like sell a lot of soundtracks, all that really boring practical stuff that nobody wants to think about. That's what gets us to. So the more that you guys can support and do what you can, but then get other people involved, get other people to start really loving on this thing, the sooner we can get to the UK, which we know that amongst other countries is a real priority for us, because we know that you're waiting. We absolutely know that. So we're doing our best to get there. How did I coin the term aphiliac? That was to do with my realizing that my life to that point, up until the age of, I think, 25, when the whole aphiliac thing started and I started writing that, was realizing that my life had a frightening parallel to the character of Ophelia, and I made the term Ophelia to be the medical condition of being like Ophelia, which is to be driven to absolute madness by the men around you. Will Asylum Experience tour? We hope to. What we need to do first is to basically put on the first version of this musical here in Los Angeles and see how much you all support it. And if you support it, then we can do anything. Let's do some Devil's Carnival questions. I'm looking. I'm glad that you are in good health. I'm struggling with depression. Do you have any advice? Firstly, I am in good health thanks largely to all of your support and your allowing me to do what it is that I do, because that is what makes me okay, is having this outlet. And you've given that to me. So I owe my being okay entirely to all of you. Thank you. I'm very sorry that you're struggling with depression, and to all of those out there, because I know that so many of us do. I can only give the advice that you need to take care of yourself, especially when other people aren't. And the only thing that ever really helped me was to think about how I could help somebody else, because I found, and do find to this day, that if I can help somebody else, then I'll take care of myself so that I can be around to help them. And when I'm at my very worst, which I still have, I just go outside and see if I can find someone to say something nice to. And I know that sounds completely stupid. And if you're feeling terrible and you can walk into a Starbucks and tell the barista that they look pretty, it's amazing what that can do to the rest of your day. And that might sound silly, but it gets me through a lot of days still. Looking. Oh, somebody might be coming in. Hi, Scorps. Yeah, we started a half hour late because of technical difficulties. So I've only been on for about 10 minutes. It's okay. Okay. That was Scorps. And sorry for the pause. I'm looking at all your questions. There's so many, it's hard to be organized. Do I have plans for a new album? Yes, actually, I just had a meeting about that yesterday as well. New album, as you know, because I've mentioned it a lot, is the new album is not a new solo Emilie Autumn album. The new album is the soundtrack to the musical. So the sooner the musical happens, which we've been working on for a very long time, the sooner that you get the new music. That should hopefully be only a few months from now. So please stay tuned to that. On my website, Darren's website, a lot of things on the internet, you will soon see announcements for the musical. So I'm looking. I'm trying to set up something where I can make the chat bigger, because the comments are going by so quickly that I'm just missing them. Let me see what I can do. Apparently I can't do that. Okay, trying. Now there's so many amazing questions. I'm trying to answer does Painted Doll speak German? I don't know if she speaks it, but she definitely sings it. So I'm gonna say the answer is yes. Now, if I could have dinner with a person, alive or dead, who would it be? Oscar Wilde, hands down. Thank you for, are you and Scorpion in love? Well, I think, according to the script, I think so. So, yeah. Marc and I only do what Darren writes for us, and so far he's written some good stuff. We seem to be doing quite well. Is Scorps getting dressed now? I don't know. He did disappear into the bathroom, so anything's possible. How long does hair and makeup take for the doll? Hair and makeup for a painted doll takes at least 2 hours. On the first one, it took, I think, at least 3, and we got it down to a bit of a science on the second one, also because on the first film, I only had to become the painted doll, so we could kind of focus half a day on that. For this one, as you know, and it's not a spoiler, it's everywhere, I had a dual role of June and the painted doll, and so having to, in the same day, switch sometimes from being made up as June, and then to have to go back to the trailer and set 11 at night and have everything taken off, be made back into the doll, and then sometimes if there was a mistake in scheduling to get back into June at the end of it for another completely different look. It was a bit crazy, so most of my hair fell out after that. It's growing back now. But it was difficult because it's all my real hair and all of that. Did I help design a painted doll's look? Yes and no. In the sense of the makeup, no, I had nothing to do with it, and I'm so glad, because anything I did would have obviously made it worse because it's so perfect. So the makeup and the look in her eyes, I had nothing to do with that. That was all the brilliant makeup and effects artist, and also just Darren and Terrance knowing what that character was that they wanted. As far as her costume, she was really established in the first film, obviously, and as far as that costume goes, which kind of established her look, I was involved in that, as I knew what I felt she should be showing. You know, there was a question of, if you saw original sketches, there was a question of, should she have sleeves? Should she have a hat? And that, so I just felt, no, her thing should be this bright blonde hair that I went blonde for the day of, basically 2 hours before we started shooting the first film. I was having my hair bleached, most of it melted off because I was going from bright red, and it was worth it though. But that's why I've stayed blonde for this long, because if I'd gotten back to the red and had to go back to the blonde, I'm sure it would have all fallen out. So now you know. But so I had something to do with her look clothing-wise, and then the hair as well. I specifically did not want to wear a wig or anything like that. I wanted her to have this white blonde hair and have that just be very bright and shocking in a very dark, colorful environment. And so that's how that started. So I had a little bit to do with the look, but mostly what I had to do with just building her character, because there wasn't any real instruction on what she did. It was really just up to me to go out on set that first night on the first film and be in front of the camera and start doing some stuff and creating what her movements were, and then yell to Darren on the other side of the room, do I look stupid? And then have him yell back to me, no, keep going. And pretty much then that was the painted doll. Because Darren didn't say to change anything, there she is. And she stayed that way. Do you like singing for concerts more or acting for the Devil's Carnival? It's a very good question. If my only choices were singing concerts and acting for the Devil's Carnival, then of course I prefer singing concerts, because I have that immediate gratification and the joy of that. And I get to meet you personally. For film, it's very difficult because everything is done in very small. It's so distracting because because there's like a 40-second delay in the video, so I can't see what I'm doing, and everything is all wrong.
Oh, that's okay. Someone wants to know the notes are because this is
They won't let them comment? Okay. Right. Okay, apparently there's a question that Scorps just found from somebody who somehow isn't able to comment, and they want to know what the lyrics are for Hoof and Lap. The only reason I'm not going to tell you is because I think the fun of it is for you to figure out what you think they are, and I want to do a contest where you make your videos, send them in to me, and I get to see them and choose something to try to get Darren to play on the roadshow of you doing your versions of that. And so the other alternative is meet up with some German-speaking playgrads, of which there are many, and see if you can get their help. So that's also why I'm not going to tell you specifically what they are, is because somebody can understand it, and I want you guys to make friends, because that is how we built the asylum community in the first place. So find a German, make friends, and learn those lyrics, and make me a video, and I will post it. So more questions. Justin B, your hoops do indeed bring down the house. Will I do another instrumental-only CD one day? Absolutely. I have so many violin concertos I want to record for you. Can Marc say hi? Yes, as soon as he comes out of the other part of the room, he can. How did I land the painted doll role? I was very fortunate in that I was on tour, I think 4 years ago now, and I was on a European tour, and Darren had come across something of me online, I think an ad for a tour date. And then he thought, oh, she looks interesting. This is what I understand from Darren anyway. And he did some research, and they were just thinking about making the first Carnival movie, but it wasn't in production yet. I guess they didn't have anybody else cast. And I just was very fortunate in that he reached out to me first and said, we have this crazy musical project that we're going to try to do, and would you play this part? And actually, I didn't know, I'm embarrassed to say, I didn't know about Repo because I think I'd been touring for years and I just missed out on a lot. And I didn't know about that. But when I looked Repo up on Amazon the night that I first talked to Darren and he said, check out what I've done, I looked it up and then I scrolled down. I read a bunch of Amazon comments to Repo and they were really amazing. And I think they were from a lot of you and a lot of Plague Rats who liked both. And I scrolled down to the bottom of the Amazon page and it said, people who bought Repo the Genetic Opera DVD most often bought Emilie Autumn a Philiac album. And then I thought, well, that would be almost rude to not take part in a work of this man who made this that clearly the Plague Rats already like. Shouldn't we all be friends? And so I said yes. Also seeing Sarah Brightman's name come up in the credits before I even saw the movie and loved it. Definitely if Sarah Brightman says yes to somebody, you don't say no. That would just be terribly, terribly rude. So looking at, most everyone was approached for Devil's Carnival with a few exceptions. Yeah, there weren't auditions for Devil's Carnival at all. I think everybody, in fact, I'm totally positive, everybody was somebody that Darren and Terrance had in mind for something, and usually had in mind when they were in the process of making those characters for the most part. And they would reach out to people. And the reason that they could do that is because there wasn't anybody that was, a casting agent or a company saying, well, we want these people, let's have them come in, or let's just hold a call. They already knew what they wanted and they didn't have to ask permission, because that's what happens when you do what we all do, which is make things on your own. But that's also, as you know, why it matters so much that when you support it, you're vocal about it, because none of us, myself especially, have anyone behind us pushing us and doing crazy publicity and making us famous. It's really all up to you that we get to do any of this. So thank you for everything that you do. Is Jimmy Urine cool to work with? Incredibly cool to work with. I was very curious, knowing the script for so long, who the translators were going to be. And I had heard a few names tossed around before Darren had really realized who Jimmy and Chantal were. And once he did, he called me up and said, you'll never guess who I got. And I'd never met Jimmy or Chantal before. And of course, for those of you who have seen Alleluia, you know that we definitely are very close during the filming of this thing. And not only are we close, but we have a very physically close relationship, and it's not necessarily positive. So I can understand the question of how that really went down. And it was in fact great. So if you have to fight and get beat up by somebody, Chantal and Jimmy are a really good choice and are very, very, very sweet, talented, and hilarious. Their comedic timing, especially as a team, is brilliant, and I'm really proud of them. Their song is definitely a fan favorite. Looking at more. Oh God, there's so many. Episode 1, how is it wearing the painted doll makeup? Was it heavy or hot, etc.? Very good question. I like the technical questions. That's a lot of fun. Those are the things I don't often get to talk about. The makeup on the first one was, as with the second one, it was a joy to wear because it does so much of the work for you, or at least it indicates, it gives you a hint of how you're supposed to act. I think I posted a picture of myself in my trailer on the first one after having come out of makeup, but before going on to set to do my first shoot in a film ever in my life. And I just sat looking in the mirror and looking at this makeup and starting to make faces to myself and thinking, what does she do? What does she do when she's angry? What does she do when she's happy? Is she ever happy with a face like this? What do her eyes move like? Does she move quickly or slowly? And so the makeup was easy. The difficult thing was the contact. And the contact is too big in both films because it's probably the same one. It's too big for my eye, and so that's incredibly painful to have in there. But then I just thought, yeah, this isn't something you complain about. This is something that you use. So let this be part of her character, is that she's actually dealing with the pain of one eye always just being wrong. And she usually doesn't look too happy about life anyway, in which case, you know, she shouldn't be too comfortable. So that was fine. Of course, it was freezing on the set of the first one, so that's the only real thing we had to deal with, is that it was incredibly, insanely cold. Colder than I have ever been in my life during the entirety of the shooting of Devil's Carnival 1, and that goes especially for my song and dance number. It was like a below zero situation, and I had to act like it wasn't. More questions? How was it working with Marc in both episodes 1 and 2? Well, obviously, it was very good because we now live together. And in episode 2, as you know, I have more of a focus on the backstory of my character. And so that means that I had to not really get to enjoy having as much of an equal part between the scorpion and the doll, because it was about a time in the doll's history that was before she even hooked up with the scorpion. So initially it was disappointing that we wouldn't get to have them sort of be on screen together that much, but there's always the next one. So keep supporting this and we'll get to make more, and you'll get to find out the scorpion story. How is Ogre? Ogre is amazing, and if you haven't seen the second film yet, I really hope you do, because I have a couple of scenes with Ogre one-on-one. He's a great person and a good friend, and really happy to know him. And I have a scene with him where we just get to talk, and it was really, really lovely, and it's sort of the point where the painted doll is figuring out what's going on, and Ogre is already aware of it. So it's a very interesting encounter, and he was lovely to work with, and I'm very glad that I get to. Did the painted doll get pricked by the scorpion? Don't be crass. Is the painted doll costume uncomfortable? Which one? The first one? No, because you know I like corsets and you know I like them tight. Yes, I know you want Scorpion's story. I do too. What is it that makes you feel connected to the painted doll the most? I'm extremely emotionally attached to both the characters of the doll, and now extremely attached to the character of June in a very, very special way, because playing the role of June changed my life and my world, in that it changed my sense of self. I've said before, playing the doll was very easy in that the doll is a very direct version of myself. So that's why I was lucky to have that be my first role in a film. Film acting is incredibly intimidating, and I find it so anyway. Theater, I understand. The audience is over there, you project, they hear you, don't turn your back on them and you're fine. And with film, there are so many other things, technical things to think about, and that's something that a truly trained actor who has a lot of experience in it, like Marc Center, for example, he has all this stuff down. I don't, and I didn't. And so having the help of Marc on set, Lyndon Smith, Cora on set, who I act with a lot, who is also more experienced than I am, and they were all generous with their help when I didn't understand the technical aspect of something. And so having to learn so much as the character of June, because when you see it, you'll understand that she is learning so much. So being able to honestly, be confused and have that work for her, that was a beautiful thing, because it was all about overcoming things I was terrified of. And getting to become the painted doll again, that is my comfort zone, because that is an amplified version of a part of myself that I've already shown in bits and pieces on stage. I mean, when I do things in Take the Pill, for example, on stage, that's painted doll. I mean, you can see where that comes from. In the character of June, you can't see where that comes from, because I'm never normal. I'm never nice. I'm never just those things. And the job of being just a girl was impossibly difficult. The job of being this crazy, vengeful, brutal character was like going home. So I'm very emotionally attached to both, and I've cried a lot since the end of the filming because I didn't want to say goodbye to them. Looking. What about new album again? Oh, so many questions. God, it goes by so fast. I wish I could just put the chat on pause and answer everybody on screen at once. New album will be the soundtrack to the musical, which we're working on. We're looking for a venue for it now. If you don't follow me a lot, then you might not know, but the musical takes time for a lot of reasons. One is making sure that all of the other cast is available, because it's a large cast, because finally it's not just me singing. But also finding a venue for the musical that is all ages is something that Darren and I and Scorpion, Marc and his team are working on every single day. And it's very difficult to find a venue for a musical that is not a general seats and a stage, because this isn't. This is about taking a musical, taking it off the stage and putting it in the middle of you guys so that you can be a part of it. And having a interesting venue like that has world-class lighting and sound and will allow all ages is a very difficult thing. We're working on it daily, and as soon as we know where this is going to be, we'll start ticket sales. And then we're closer to new music, because there is new music. And yes, Jimmy was great to work with and tons of fun. It was my favorite part of working with everyone on TBC. I think the favorite part of working with everyone is just knowing that we're all on the same side. Nobody's there, like with what I've always done, nobody's there because they're getting paid millions of dollars. Nobody is because we don't have that. We're there because we want to be. Nobody's even there because they think, oh, this is gonna launch my career, I'm gonna get an Oscar for this. They're there because they want the chance to do something different, and they truly love the people that they're working with. So being able to literally work with your best friends. I mean, quickly after meeting Darren for the first time, we became best friends. Immediately upon meeting Marc Center for the first time, we became best friends and lovers. So it's worked out pretty well for me in all kinds of ways. But now I have a family and a support system that I've never had before. And it's all this large group of people that were involved in these movies. And that's why whatever happens in my life, I'm incredibly grateful to Darren and Terrance for allowing me, for finding me in the first place, asking me to be a part of something that nobody knew what was going to happen, and for choosing wisely everyone else involved, because now not only do I have all of these friends around me, I also have people that I get to work with, such as Adam Pascal and Marc and Ted Neeley and others who are now in the Asylum for Wayward Victorian Girls musical. As you know, Ted Neeley is officially playing the maybe biggest, most famous role of all of Sir Edward the Rat in the Asylum musical. So that's happening this year, and you'll get to see it. So thank you, Darren and Terrance, for everything. I'm looking. Are you coming with TDC on one of the tours of the live film in California? Which one? Well, I hope to be there for all of the ones in California because that's where I'm at. So I was at the premiere in Los Angeles, of course, and I think there's 2 or 3 more Los Angeles and just general California shows. So it'd be pretty inexcusable if I wasn't there for those. So yes, of course I will be. I'm also in Arizona, New Mexico, Chicago, and New York so far. Very excited. We're taking off this week. David Hasselhoff. David Hasselhoff was actually fantastic to work with, and I have great memories of meeting him for the first time as I'm in the makeup chair on set for my first day of shooting the second film, and I'm getting made up as June. And David Hasselhoff comes in and he sits in the makeup chair next to me, and they start doing his crazy David Bowie-esque face paint, and he turns to me and he starts telling me all these really lovely things about my performance in the first film, and it was just very surreal to be in that position, and kind of fantastic, because then we go into the next room, and David does his song, which I'm sure you'll agree he did a fantastic job with, and then, as I'm sure you've seen, he grabs me and yells in my face. So that was that's how you make friends. So much. Will you try to get a pro shot done of the Asylum musical? I hope so. There's so much to consider doing that, and the focus right now is making it the best experience for all of you, for Plague Rats, old and new, to experience. So getting a proper, like, a DVD footage of that is secondary to what I can give you in the moment live. But please stay tuned, because there's so much going on in Asylum musical world I can't even keep up. What about Germany? What about Germany? Everything about Germany. We love Germany. Without Germany, I wouldn't have a career. Germany is the first place that actually brought me over and really paid attention to the Apheliac record and opened that door for me so that other people in the world noticed. And I'm grateful. So I really, did David smack you with his cape? Yes, he did. So yes, we would love to bring this film to Germany. We'd love to bring it everywhere. And really, it's just where the Plague Rats and the Carnies and the Sinners and whatever you identify with are the loudest, and where we know that we will be well received and that you're waiting for us, that makes it that much easier to bring it to you. We want to bring this film everywhere, and I would love to come. Will the musical be in Germany? Well, the hope is that the musical will world dominate and be everywhere. And I'd like to have this to the point where we're on Broadway, we're on the West End, and there are multiple casts performing this all over the world. That's the goal. This is not meant to be a small indie musical. This is meant to be Phantom of the Opera on crack. So I shouldn't have said that, but I did. What about Sarah Brightman as Madame Mornington? My goal is Sarah Brightman as Madame Mornington. I'm writing a song for Sarah right now, and I really hope that she likes it, because yeah, she is my ideal for the role of Madame Mornington, and I will do everything possible to make that happen for you. May I make you a pretty dress? Absolutely, you may make me a pretty dress, and I would wear it with pride and gratitude. Thank you for asking. Broadway, yes. Yes, Broadway, yes. Everything I do has been for many years in the goal of that. And I've known it for a long time. You've known it for a long time. And I think you know, if you've been at the last few years of Asylum tours, that we were all doing this to come together, create our community, create our family, so that we can all together go to the next step, which is allowing us all, us, myself, and all of you, and our new crazy cast and crew, to be able to tell the story completely. And that's what we've done so far. Open asylum auditions. When it is time for inmate casting, I will let you know, and you will be there. Did you prefer your costume for episode 1 or 2? They were all amazing, honestly. Mildred von Hildegard of Mother of London, as I'm sure you know, was an idol of mine in the fashion world before I ever met her. And so when I randomly found out that she was to be the one designing and making and sewing my costume for Carnival 1, I was shocked and thrilled. And she did an incredible job, and that costume is always going to be iconic and helped so much in creating that vision of that character, because it was so interesting and yet simple in a way. And I think costumes for films like this are so important, that they're very interesting and exciting, but also something that someone can, to some degree, with what skills they have, reproduce, because so much of this, as you know, is about being able to put on your own versions of this, whether it's a shadow cast or a cosplaying is this. We love that. We want to see that. And it is actually something that we think about when we're talking about costume design. I was involved in the designs of the second one because I kind of earned it on the first one, building that character, being allowed to say, this is what I think the doll should wear in the second one. I want her legs showing to here. I want her to have skin. I want her to have her hair up. I want it to be about this, so that when she moves, you can really see her structure, her skeletal structure, you know, what's wrong with her. How does she make those into pluses instead of minuses? So the costumes for everything were amazing, but as I was saying, it's always about, can people reproduce their own versions of these and carry on what it is that we're building. And so I'm really excited to see what some of you do with my costume for the doll for the second film, for Alleluia, because it is so different and so extreme, but I know that you can do it. And I was thinking about that when we were designing it, is how are they going to make their own versions of this thing? And I can't wait to see it, because it's an amazing costume. And I know you can do your versions of this. I'm very excited. What is your favorite novel? My favorite novel is, if I have to pick one, that's Cruel, because I love to read more than anything on the face of the planet, as you know. If I have to pick one favorite novel, it is The Picture of Dorian Gray, followed very closely and some days equally with Jane Eyre. But that is a hard question. I will be getting a Plague Rat tattoo soon. Do you approve? Oh, I so approve. I so approve. Please send me a picture and post and let me retweet all of that goodness as soon as you have it. I'm incredibly honored that you would let me be a part of your skin forever. It's amazing. I'm completely blown away by all asylum tattoos that I've seen. It's shocking. I love it. Do I have plans to release any albums to vinyl? Actually, yes. I also had a meeting about that yesterday, about re-releasing albums in really special, beautiful packaging versions, limited edition, special versions of things that I have, and then also, of course, the new music for the musical and that. And we've got a lot of plans, so I'm working on that to design some really magical things for you. And you'll see them soon. What's your favorite Shakespeare play? Love it. Thank you for being so smart and so into all of these things that I am. It feels really good to get to talk to smart people about books and plays and all of that stuff. It doesn't happen often in daily life, so thank you for caring. It's actually not Hamlet, as you would think. My favorite Shakespeare play by far is Twelfth Night. That's the one that I most identify with, and would just absolutely die to play Viola in someday in Twelfth Night. Maybe I can do a Twelfth Night musical version with Darren and Marc. Marc would be an amazing Orsino. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. Thank you very much. Will the musical be indeed based in England? Well, England is obviously, as you know, the base of where the asylum is. So that will always, I mean, the proper home of the asylum musical obviously is England and the West End, because the vast majority of the show and the book that it's based on and everything takes place there. That's what it's about. So it's so completely caught up in the history of British culture and advances that were made there, that that's always going to be where it belongs. So yes, as soon as we can get it there, that's where it'll be. Oh God, who's your favorite character from either Carnival film? Well, mine, obviously, which is good because I have to play her. So I think your favorite character should always be the one that you're playing at the time. But obviously every character is irreplaceable and beautiful and necessary. So the character of Scorpion clearly is a favorite because he's the one with me that started it all. But they're all amazing. I mean, obviously Lucifer is incredible and kind of the top guy, and Adam as the agent is a very important character as well that I think you will very much enjoy. And all of these characters that as the second film goes on are so much more complicated than you even realize in the first one because we have more time to explore it. So thank you for asking. Have you gone on a proper holiday yet? What a question. I've actually never been on a proper holiday ever in my life, ever. I've never been on what anyone would call a vacation, but I think that's okay. I don't really want that. If I have time, I just want to work on more projects and write more books and write more music, and that's it. So I'm not mad about that. Do you miss Europe? And Poland! Of course I do. I miss Europe more than anything. We've always had the most amazing experiences in Poland and all of the rest of Europe that has welcomed me so amazingly from the very beginning. We toured Europe, as you know, several times before we ever came to America, and that's why a lot of people, especially in America, still assume that, one, everyone thinks I'm British, and two, except for British people, British are the only people that don't think that I'm British, because being British, they know better, and they know that I'm not, and I don't sound British, but everybody else seems to be very confused on the matter, which I've just learned to be okay with and get used to, because it's certainly not an insult. And so I'm very happy in that America has finally embraced the asylum and what it stands for, and me and Captain Maggots and Veronica and everybody, and the story and the message. But I'm always very, very grateful to Europe as a whole, because we were allowed to tour there for a couple of years before anywhere else. So generally I'm seen as a European artist that came to America, and people don't quite realize yet that no, I actually am from here. How's audiobook editing going? Audiobook editing is amazing. We're very nearly done, and there are a lot of exciting things, some of which I can talk about, some of which I can't, going on in the world of the Asylum book, and they have to do with a re-release of the book, which I'm sure you already know. The version that I have online, that's this big, beautiful graphic novel version, is very soon to be gone and sell out, and it won't be reprinted in the form that it's at. The goal is to make a version of it that, even though it won't have all of these graphics, it will have some, and it will keep all of the magic of what we've already created, but I wanted to make a version of the book that is much more affordable, primarily. I want this to be easy for people to get. I don't want it to be that expensive. It's great to have art pieces out that people have to save money for. I mean, I think that's actually a very good thing. Things don't always need to be free, but I want the story to be easily available to people, because it's a story that is written to help, and it's a story that is there for people who need it. It's entertaining and fun, but it's also there because it's written for people who need it. It's the story that had had I read a book like the Asylum book when I was having a very difficult time in my life, it might have saved me. And for not because it's the best book in the world, and not because of me in particular, but just because it's about letting people know that they're not alone in whatever it is that they're struggling with. So sometimes all you need is for someone to tell you, hey, guess what? You're actually not alone, and you're not crazy, and there's nothing wrong with you. And that's what it's for. So we're creating a new version of the book, and in the process of creating the new version of the book that is going to be readily available everywhere and very easy for people in all parts of the world to get, able to be translated into other languages more easily, which the version we have now cannot be, and also more easily available electronically, is in the process of getting to do a new version, as I am now, and getting that big re-release of it. I get the privilege of being able to rewrite parts of it, add new elements that are so important, because as I've always said, the Asylum is a living entity, and it grows and it changes, and every time that I've repressed a version of this book, even to this point, I've changed quite a bit of it, because it isn't a stagnant thing. The story will always develop, and you're a part of that as well. So there's so much that's being added, and there's been the question at the end of the editing of the audiobook process of how much do I include in it of the new version of the book that has a lot of new things in it. And so I'm putting in some of them as a thank you to everybody for waiting so long and being so patient for this second version of this audiobook. And you're going to get elements long before anyone else does, because you pre-ordered this thing and have waited so kindly. And I can't wait for you to hear them. They're going to change everything. So thank you for asking. More questions? What is your favorite musical? Alleluia, the Devil's Carnival, of course. In addition to that, favorite musical is both Les Mis and Phantom. Also Aspects of Love, which is a lesser-known Andrew Lloyd Webber musical, but it's actually my favorite. And I wish that it were playing on Broadway when I am going on September 7th to New York for the Carnival showing. I'm taking Scorps to see Les Mis on Broadway, which is huge. He's never seen it before. I took him to see Phantom here in Los Angeles recently, and he loved it. But now he gets to see Les Mis. Very excited for that. Are there any famous Broadway roles you would like to play? Oh gosh, how intimidating. That would be terrifying, but yes, I would love to be in Cabaret. I'd love to be in Phantom. I'd love to be in anything that would have me, basically. It would be an honor to be a backup dancer for any of them. So yes, of course. Thanks for loving Aspects of Love. It's my favorite. Am I writing a second book, follow-up to The Asylum for Wayward Victorian Girls? There will be many more books, and I'm thrilled to say that I just signed to my dream book agent, literary agent in the world, called Jenny Bent. And she's this amazing, powerful woman, absolute badass, who stands behind the Asylum book and is helping me to edit this into a version that I can make much more readily available to the world. And with her help, that'll be out there to you soon. And I will also be in a position to write and release many more books. And I have one that I'm working on in the back of my head that as soon as this new book is out there, I will be writing very quickly. And I can't wait to tell you about it, but I can tell you that the tagline for it is the Victorian Mission Impossible. So keep that in the back of your mind. That's my next book. Yeah. Oh, this isn't very interesting. I want to answer a lot of Carnival questions, but I am seeing one I think is important. My mom thinks your book will give me ideas, and I can't argue that it would help more than harm because you've made me feel less alone in my illness. What should I tell her? That's something that I've struggled with, because looking through the book, I often, especially seeing graphics, whether it's graphics of cuts that in the past, and I absolutely do not do this anymore in any form, but I felt it was important to write about. graphics of things that if I were looking through the asylum book and I had no knowledge of me or what I stood for or why I wrote these things or why I shared them with the world, and I put myself in the position of someone's parent, and I often think about, and I had this discussion with Jenny, my literary agent, just a couple of weeks ago, is what does a parent think when they open this book and they don't know what it's about, and they just see this is something their child either has or wants, the young person, and how do they know that this is safe for them? How do they know that this isn't teaching them how to do things that are harmful to them? And in the conversations with people that I trust, they felt that that was definitely not something that was harmful, in that I make a point of never saying in the asylum book, we'll get back to Carnival in a minute, but I think this is important. In the asylum book, I make a point never to say, don't do this, don't have these thoughts, don't do these things, because I think the reason why the book has, I've been told by many of you, helped people to be safer or take better care of themselves or to understand people in their own lives, but also to not hurt themselves, is because somebody actually respected how they were feeling, what they were going through, understood it, and had the respect to not say, stop it. Because when somebody says stop it, you do it more because you feel even more like you're on the outside. And when somebody says stop it, I don't understand why you do this. Speaking for myself, I did it more when somebody said something like that to me, because I felt even more alone. And when you feel alone is when you go hide in the bathroom and you do something that isn't healthy, but it often prevents you from doing something worse. When I used to cut myself, I did it, as most of you know, and anyone who's read my book knows, I did it so that I wouldn't do something worse than that. I cut myself so that I wouldn't kill myself. And so in that sense, I'm not in any way ashamed of having done that. I'm very sad that I had to do that, but I don't regret it, for the reason that now I can talk to any of you who have ever tried to do that, or to anyone. And I think that I'm in a privileged position to get to tell you that I understand, because a lot of people won't. And to also tell you that that can end and you can stop doing those things. And I want to help you to know that doing those things doesn't mean that you're bad or wrong or crazy. It usually means that there are things in the world around you that are so frightening or confusing or overwhelming or sad or scary or hurtful that taking something on your body into your own control, even if it's in a damaging way, is somehow the only control that you can feel. And that's why I did it. And I just want you to know that there are other ways, and if you can just know that this can stop, this can end, and you don't have to be ashamed of it, taking the shame away from that can help you to stop doing it. And I just want to tell you that there's nothing to be ashamed of. And I wish that I could give everybody a really big, massive hug and a kiss right now that ever feels like they need to do things like that to themselves. And I'm just happy that you're on the planet with me. And as far as what you can tell your mother if they don't want you to read the book, I think I have to respect that you have a good enough parent that they really care about you enough to worry about what it is that you read. And so in that sense, I think you're very lucky. If you ever have the chance and it feels comfortable, you can always have your mom listen to some music of mine, or maybe read an interview or something, and realize that I am actually maybe the safest person that you can be listening to or reading, because I'm on your side and I don't represent scary things. I represent, let's talk about scary things to make them less scary. So I hope that she can understand that, but I also ask you to please be patient with your mom, because it's not her fault that that it looks scary from the outside. And maybe if you could tell her to read it first, that and you could get the ebook version that's really not expensive or something, then it's something that you could maybe read together. And if at any point she doesn't feel good about it, and then my final note on that, and we'll get back to Carnival, is that in my own struggles with thinking, am I doing something wrong by talking so openly about what I've experienced and what I've perceived in the world around me, is that I think if you are going to do something to yourself, you're going to do it with or without my help. And I don't need to, nobody needed to tell me what to do when I was doing things that weren't good for myself. Nobody needed to give me advice on that. I never read about it. If you're going to do that, you're going to do that without me. If you're not going to do that, there's nothing I can say to tell you to do that, because I never would, and that would be ridiculous. So yeah, respect your mom's opinion, and she might respect yours, and maybe you could read it together. That would be kind of the ideal. And I hope I get to meet you and your mom, because if she cares enough about you to know that it matters what you read, then she's probably a really good mother. You're lucky. Okay, now, when will I start concert? I will start concert as soon as we can find a venue for the Asylum musical and make sure that all of the cast is cast and in the same place at the same time. We hope to do that in February of this coming year. And Darren and I and Marc are working on venues now. Now I have time for just a few more questions. I know we got started really late, so I'm just gonna really look and see what I can answer quickly. Did you dye your hair blonde just for the role? Yes, I did. I dyed it for the role just a couple of hours before we shot on the first day. And maybe the best thing about dyeing my hair blonde for the painted doll was it, one, made her so different from everything else in my life, and that made it really special, but also because this was actually my real hair color up until I was about 16 years old. And then it started getting a bit darker and darker, and then I just decided I want to dye this bright red color. I need some color in my life. I'm going to make my hair bright so that maybe I'll feel brighter. But now it's kind of like a second chance at a happy childhood this time by going back to my childhood hair color. So keeping it blonde for a bit has been not just for the movie, it's been mostly for the movie, but also because I'm kind of re-associating myself with my childhood and having a better one this time around because I'm my childhood hair color. So sorry if that sounds silly, but it means a lot to me. Holy crap, I didn't know you wrote a book. I looked on Amazon for it. It sounded amazing, but it's up there for free. Yeah, please don't buy my book on Amazon. That's crazy. Don't ever pay $300 to $500 for a book unless I like wrote it in my hand to you and kissed you on the mouth when I gave it to you. That's ridiculous. It's available for half price on my shop website, asylumemporium.com. You can find it from the emilieautumn.com website too. A link to there. Normally the book, because it's very big and very expensive to print, is $75. It is half price right now until it sells out, and it won't be reprinted in that version. So yeah, it is $30-something at the moment. Do not overpay on Amazon or eBay or anything else. You don't have to. Get this on my website for 30-something, and yeah, don't pay $500 for my book. That's madness. I don't want you to do that. Am I into Anne Rice? Yes, and especially I'm very grateful to Anne Rice for caring about online bullying of anyone, especially people that are brave enough to open their mouths and give you their thoughts. And that's anybody who's a musician that writes, anybody that is an author is brave just for the fact that they're sharing anything that's inside their head with you. And so for anyone to be brutal to them online, whatever they think about them as a person, should basically die and rot in hell, because you have no right. And I have absolutely no mercy and no sympathy for anyone that bullies or is cruel to anybody online. And you can share that with the world. So basically fuck anybody that fucks with anybody who has the guts to share their thoughts and their feelings in any form. If you don't like their music, if you don't like the book, shut the fuck up and don't listen to it. I never asked you to. So if you do like it, fabulous, spread the word, it's for you. If you don't like it, leave me alone and leave everybody alone. And thank you to Anne Rice for recognizing the bullying of people like myself and like so many others, because it's very, very dangerous. And it has caused me to want to quit everything that I do and just end everything very many times in my life. And knowing that people like Anne and Marc and Darren and everybody else that I know is so supportive and just encourages me to never read anything, never listen to anything, and just do what I do and put it out to you and hope that somebody somebody realizes what it's all about. But yeah, I've had to learn because of things like online bullying situations. You know, I'm a target naturally because, to be quite frank, any woman who opens her mouth for anything other than a blowjob is going to be jumped on. And I open my mouth a lot. And that's the thing, is if you're a girl and you have an opinion on anything and you speak loudly about it, you're going to be attacked. You're going to be. If you do it, you're going to be attacked too. So we need to stick together and be as loud as we possibly can and be as scary as we possibly can, because only then will we be able to stop this. And basically somebody saying, well, Emilie is a liar and she's making up everything and she's not really bipolar at all. Firstly, I wish that you were correct in that. But secondly, there's no difference in that than if somebody called out some actor and said, I'll bet that actor isn't even gay, they're just using it for their career. That would never happen. And that's something in our society and our culture and how we think about women and how we think about mental health and how we think about women with opinions that someday will change because we change it. And that's me and that's you. So yeah, let's fight for each other. And I'd like to take back the internet just like we took back the asylum. And that's basically getting rid of everybody who ruins it for everybody else. Thank you for being on my side as much as I'm on yours. Now, we're going to get 2 more questions about Carnival. You are my hero, you are my hero. So thank you for being here with me. 2 more Carnival questions, and then I have to go and complete the editing of the book. Are June and Cora lesbians? You're gonna have to watch the movie and find out. Will you do a book signing tour? Yes, absolutely. When the new book comes out, it will be all over the place, and I will be doing book signing tours and readings and everything that I can to get it to you and to share it with you personally. That is always very, very important to me. Thank you. And one more question. Do you know why the Montreal showing for TDC was canceled? I actually don't. I didn't know that it was. I hope that there's another one nearby that you can get to. I don't know about the booking of it. I'm sorry. I got one more question. Hey, Scorps, do you want to come say hi? Okay. All right, I'm getting Scorpion to come say hello to you. And then I can do one more question. And then I've got to go work on the book for you. Now, you're not going to be able to see online because there's such a huge delay. But so don't look at that. It's like 40 seconds ago, but Jeez. They can see you. So just know that they can see you.
I'm like a robot.
They can see you and they love you. All right, Marc Sunder's doing the robot for you. Oh, Scorps.
And I love you. That's the funniest thing.
Maybe you could answer a couple of questions. They go by so fast.
Wow, these do go by fast.
I know, it's really scary.
Hi. Hello.
See, it's so delayed, but
jeez,
you know,
wow, there's a lot.
It's
hi. Hello, everybody. This is amazing.
I know.
I hope everybody's having a really good weekend and doing something really fun and just being super happy and enjoying their weekend. and not being stressed or anxious.
Don't be stressed or anxious. Don't be stressed or anxious. Okay, I keep getting the question, what's the funniest thing to happen on set of the new movie? Did anything crazy funny happen to you?
I'm trying to think. I mean, of course, I'm sure. I'm just trying to think what it was. It's something really funny and crazy that happened. Jesus. I mean, I thought it was, this isn't necessarily crazy, but like when you fed those horses, I thought that was pretty amazing. When you pulled over and fed horses?
There were horses on the way to one of the, set locations.
I have something.
What?
So when I showed up, there was a lot of actors in this movie, as you know. So there was a situation where there were like not that many trailers. Well, there was just like so many people, so like all the little places where they're supposed to sit. And so I saw Dayton, Callie, his trailer, and I thought it'd be really funny if I took that trailer.
Mm-hmm. You took Dayton's trailer, yes.
And when Dayton showed up,
he was really mad.
He wasn't too happy about it.
He was really mad.
And I might have let it go on for a little while, just because I enjoy that man being angry very much.
Well, I'm sure it helped him to get into character.
I was helping him get into his character.
Yeah, you were helping him be a better actor. He's already wonderful, so not that he needed it, but Marc Center helped to give him some little push to
and I
be fantastic.
Really like Dayton a lot, so.
Yeah, Dayton is fantastic.
Exactly.
He's a good guy and a good friend.
It was something better now, but that's pretty funny.
Well, that's pretty good. What about that I kept being...
What inspired me when you played as a scorpion? What inspired me?
That's a good question, because you did have some inspirations that you looked at and studied. Like, wasn't Elvis part of it?
Yeah, just all the 50s stuff. All that 50s stuff was really cool. And that's what was cool about the second one, is the jacket and saying, how could we like morph the 50s guy with like a little bit of like a punk rock guy? So I feel like we're also kind of finding or figuring him out too as the episodes go on, trying new stuff and fun stuff. Yeah. Which you've given me great ideas on too.
I have?
Yeah.
What have I given you great ideas on?
Lots.
Really?
Take a turn.
Yeah! Whoa! 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 That was good though. That was good. This is what happens. This is what happens. This is what I have to live with every day, day in, day out. Who's coming to see us in New York? There's a crazy delay, so we have to. Are you still insomniac? The only reason why I ever sleep is because Scorps makes me. Otherwise,
wait, they want. Yeah. Okay, see this?
Sing us, but what should we sing? Will you sing your song for me?
Do 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 do.
Oh my God, no. Why don't you sing your song for the playground and the
sing us some Little Mermaid. Oh, that's a great idea.
Okay, now I know it's really hard for. Oh look, that's when you almost knocked me off the chair. Oh, okay. Take off your hat. Okay, don't look at that. Just know they can see you because you're awesome. Take off your little hat.
Why don't you sing Little Mermaid and I'll
no, exactly. Okay, so here's the story. For anyone who doesn't know, now this is the last thing that we're gonna do, and definitely the most important. So, firstly, hold that because we're gonna sign off with this. What we would like to say is thank you so much for being a supporter of the first Carnival movie. Thank you for waiting a while for the second one. It is going to be so worth it. You're going to love the new incarnation of the Scorpion. He gets completely upgraded, updated, and it's amazing. And
she's being super duper nice, but the truth is she's unbelievable in this movie and totally kills it. And it's a lot of fun. And she does an amazing job, and all the other new people do too. So if you like the first one, you're gonna love this one even more. And she's crazy, crazy, crazy good in it.
Well, your song is still my favorite from both movies. So you're going to love it. The second one is incredible, but don't stop watching the first one because, yeah, your song is still the prettiest.
Well, that's pretty amazing coming from you, since you all know how talented she is. I mean, let's be honest.
You have the prettiest song. You have a pretty song. And you know, I like boys singing pretty songs. Super hot. Okay, so here's what's up. I need you to go and I need you to spread the word, and we need you to come to any of the Alleluia Devil's Carnival screenings that you possibly can. We are driving, flying, driving a lot.
This is super important.
In a van.
Yeah.
If we can drive for 2 days straight, so can you. And we're going to be there. It doesn't matter if you have the, are you lifting your shirt up? It doesn't matter if you have a VIP ticket or not. Everybody's a VIP. We're there for you. We're going to love you all over you. We're going to make it super weird. You can pet Marc's hair. He'll take off his shirt for you. It's all cool. And all sorts of things are going to happen. And we're going to love you and sign and take pictures and do all sorts of weird stuff to you. So I just want you to know we're going to do stuff to you. I hope you're cool with that. And yeah, I hope you love the film. Thank you. Oh, I'll tell you what Little Mermaid song is. So here's the deal. Here's what we're going to sign on with. So Marc, and I'm ashamed if you don't know this, Marc is actually a trained dancer in several styles from childhood. He's a trained dancer. I have no dance training whatsoever. Marc is a trained dancer. Okay, that's for the real. Now, one day, Marc educated me on the fact that, I never call you Marc unless I'm angry at you, and you never call me Emilie unless you're angry at me. So if I say Marc,
you're angry!
I know! Marc, isn't that terrible? God.
Oh.
So Scorps, okay. So Scorps told me that, that he did, when he was very young, a ballet routine to a song from The Little Mermaid, and it was a modern dance situation.
It was a ballet. I had white pants, white shirt, white slippers.
As you should, as a mermaid does. And as a man-made does.
As a man-made does.
Wait, not a man-made, a merman.
A man,
okay,
a merman.
Back to work. So, so it turns out that he did this dance to The Little Mermaid. It was really good, and now whenever I feel depressed, or I read some shitty thing online, I say, dance for grandma, and he does. And that's why you're a good Scorps. So what we're going to do now is Marc, of course, still remembers his routine.
Well, part of it.
And so I'm going to sing the Little Mermaid song that is Marc's childhood ballet routine. He's going to dance for you. And then you are going to come to the Devil's Carnival, and you will make Marc dance it for you live and in person. So, like, yeah, it's pretty priceless.
Okay, this is the only thing I remember super good.
So, wait, let me put the key. Never properly sung The Little Mermaid
Where do
before.
we start?
I'll tell you where to start.
Okay.
Okay.
This is the part I do remember.
You're great at improv. You can make up the rest of it.
Okay.
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you say my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm a Scorps who has everything? Look at this something of treasures untold. How many wonders can one cabin hold?
This is why I run around. I don't have enough space.
No, it's okay. Keep going.
But normally it's playing the song.
Looking at all this stuff, whatever it is. Yeah, you think, sure. He's got everything. He's got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. He's got who's-its and what's-its galore. You want thingamabobs? He's got 20!
Or 20.
No big deal. I want more. I want to be where the Scorpies are. Dance for grandma! I want to see them dancing, walking around on that.
I had remembered.
What's that word again? Street. Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping and dancing. Oh, this is where you say, walking along on that something. Street. Jackpot. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they play all day in the sun. Wandering free, wish Scorps could be part of you.
Whoa!
Thank you for joining our world, the asylum world, the world of the carnival. We love you dearly. Now get outside and do something with your day, plague rats.
Bye.
Bye. I'm letting it run out because I'm not sure that there's already. All right, I think we're good.